everybody, my name's Chelsea Callahan and welcome back to my channel where I bring you advice and lifestyle videos wrapped in a little bit of humor. Cannot believe that this month makes 10 years since I've graduated high school. 10 years. Oh my god. But yeah, I do want to preface this by saying also that my life experience before graduating is a lot different from other people's. I did grow up with a lot of financial assistance from my family, so I know I had a bit of a head start upon graduating, and I acknowledge that the system was and is in my favor. So let's jump into it. Life lessons that I've learned since I graduated. There's a lot. Buckle up. So the first life lesson is that it's okay to take time to decide what you want to do with your life. This one is huge for me and really personal for me because I really had no idea. There is no rush to decide what you want to do with the rest of your life. And I don't know why there is always so much pressure on 18-year-olds to decide how they want to start their career. A lot of 18-year-olds have zero life experience outside of their parents' home, like myself. So it's totally impossible to have explored every career opportunity and know which one that you fit into best. And it's impossible to know yourself that well that young to be able to make that decision. And if you're about to throw all this money at pursuing a career, you want to make sure that it's the right one, and that was a mistake that I made. A suggestion I have is to take a gap year. I don't know why it's not more normalized in the United States to do this, but postgraduates do it all over the world because they know it's absolutely ridiculous to know what you want from life. Like, you need life experience to know how you want to live your life. Give yourself at least that year, or like a year to work and save up some money, because a lot of people don't have the support of their parents as well. Gap years can be so important. You will learn how to adult. That term is funny to me, but you will learn how to adult from the mistakes you make, and that will prepare you for leaving the house. So many people, if they decide to pursue college, wait until later in their 20s, and I really wish that I did that. The next thing kind of piggybacks on the last topic is that you don't have to go to college to be successful. Oh my god, this is huge. And it's built up through so much of school. Like, that's the next step, is going to college. And you can only be successful and only get employed if you have a college degree, which a lot of the times, sure, that makes sense. But if you're going to college not having any idea what you're going to do, it's really going to be a waste of your time and money. You will be able to find success in other ways. I talked about in other videos like how success is so subjective anyways. Like stay-at-home moms raising families, that's their level of success because that's what they wanted for themselves, and that's freaking awesome. There are also people who become owners of companies and managers and thrive in that corporate world, and that's how they perceive success to them. That's great. That's awesome. A lot of my time after graduating was deciding what success really meant to me and to take away that pressure from other people as well. After graduating, even through college, societal pressures to fit into a box was making me so unhappy. I cannot tell you how out of place I felt. Like, what your family did isn't necessarily what you're supposed to do. Like, if your family was farmers or had a family business, that doesn't mean that you need to go into that. You're allowed to pursue your own passions if you know what those are, because this world now is a totally different world from the one your parents or guardians or grandparents grew up in. Completely different economy. So yeah, you don't have to go to college to be successful at all. Not everything needs a degree. If you go to college and you don't have that drive and you don't want to be there and you don't want to learn, then the people who are not paying what you're paying and are outside reading books and immersing themselves in networking and everything, who aren't going to college, are already ahead of you. So if you're going to college not wanting to be there, not wanting to work, you shouldn't even be there. The next thing is to take your education into your own hands, especially if college isn't for you. Even if like high school wasn't even for you, this can apply to you. I remember feeling like I didn't have the drive or want to learn anything in high school. I wanted to do my extracurricular activities, and that was the only reason why I ended up getting decent grades. If I didn't get decent grades, then I couldn't pursue my extracurricular activity. But I didn't have that grit to learn for the sake of learning and for my own mental growth. But what I've learned over the last 10 years is it's so important to educate yourself and to have that curiosity about the world around you. Question everything, literally everything. Like, you have a conversation with somebody and they say a phrase that you don't know, or words you don't know. Take a mental note and write them down and learn them, and quiz yourself on vocab. This is like a huge thing that I've done after graduating. Is there was a lot of terms like for politics and economics and psychology that I should have known, but I had no clue because I didn't care during high school. I really didn't. So I started giving myself vocab quizzes based on what I wanted to learn. It wasn't on anyone else's time but my own, and it's frankly our responsibility as adults to keep ourselves educated. Educate yourself on sexual health. Oh my God, do not rely on your public school system to teach you what you need, or even your parents to teach you what you need to know about how to have a healthy sex life. Maintaining knowledge about sexual health is a part of self-care. Like, learn about birth control, learn about what it means to have consensual sex. I know my experience with sexual education in my high school was a freaking disaster, absolute mess. Researching health insurance companies, because if you stay on your parents' health insurance until you turn 26, a lot of times it's a wake-up call for a lot of people. I know it was for me. When I turned 26, I had no idea what even like Obamacare was about. What healthcare did I even want or need based on my own health situations? I was completely lost, and because I was lost, I was uninsured. And a lot of stuff happened when I wasn't insured that could have saved me so much money because I just didn't invest the time and the knowledge into learning that for myself. The next life lesson is to negotiate everything. Don't trust anybody. In the real world, if people are nice to you, it's not because they think you're a good person and because you're nice to them back. People are nice to you because you have something that they want, and they will manipulate you to get what they want from you, and that will leave you feeling completely empty. I learned this the hard way so many times. That was a tough life lesson to learn. Know your worth. Negotiate your salary, negotiate rent prices when you're apartment or house searching, negotiate getting a better seat on an airplane, negotiate a lower interest rate on your student loans. If you're not actively questioning and pushing people to give you what you want, they will not give it to you, and in fact, it will have the opposite effect, and they will take advantage of you. And I could have saved a lot of money and could have saved a lot of mental stress just by like knowing my worth and standing up for myself and having the vocabulary and conversational skills to do so. They'll walk all over you. Don't let them. So the next life lesson I learned after graduating is how to drink alcohol. When you do turn 21, learn how to drink in a safe space. Like, learn what alcohol makes you want to die the next day. Learn what amounts make you get sick. Learn to not focus on sugary drinks because they will give you the worst hangovers. And more sugar is not always the best, especially for your skin and your mind and your heart and your health. You don't need to drink to get drunk all the time. We all know it can be fun, but it can truly lead to depression, anxiety in your life, or at least heighten those if you already have them. Like for me, that was the case. If you need to drink in order to express yourself to someone, or if you need to drink to reduce your anxiety, you're actually doing the opposite of what will help that. Get in the habit of cutting yourself off. Be a good friend and cut your friends off if they're drinking too much or acting stupid. Learning how to drink responsibly, it sounds so cookie cutter and so freaking boring, but it can change your whole drinking experience. Once you know how to drink responsibly, you're able to have more fun when you drink. And sometimes it's about more like the community you're with and the people you're with. And I'm not perfect, I'm still working through this, but it's been a process the last 10 years to kind of figure out where I stand with alcohol and how to drink so it doesn't control my life. The next life lesson I've learned is to not delay my student loan payments. This was a tough one, and I know it's a tough one for so many people because I'm like, F the government. Don't be discouraged by the big number. Like, focus on your minimum monthly payments. If that's what you can pay, pay it. Make that decision for yourself, but know that you will need to continue to keep chipping away at your loans in order to get that financial freedom for yourself. But with that, I've learned that you don't need to be debt-free in order to start living an exciting and fulfilling life, but you do just need to be better at planning ahead. Like, if you want to go on vacation, but you know you have a $300 student loan payment, plan for that and work for that in preparation for your vacation, so that way you're not stressing about it the entire time you're away, like, oh, I could be making this amount of money. Especially if you don't have a salaried job, like, it doesn't give you time off, like, you have to like work double time for a couple months in order to afford a vacation. Situations like that. You just have to be better at planning ahead so that you can afford to take vacations. But it can get so depressing if you see that big number of debt hanging over your head every day and thinking that you can't get a house until you pay it off. You can't have a family until you pay it off. Stay on top of it and you can really enjoy your life. At least in like millennial and Gen Z generation, I know that loans are just gonna be a big part of how life is. So the sooner we can accept that and not fight it and wish the government would get their shit together, because they're not. Oh my God, a huge thing I've learned is to not put my like life happiness in decisions the government's gonna make. Like, I can't wait for the government to decide that it's going to erase all student loans for whatever reason. It's just not not realistic. For a while I wanted that, and for a while I was really upset that in the economy today I can't afford what my mom or grandparents or whatever could afford at the time they were my age. The situation has completely changed, and the sooner we accept that, the sooner we can plan accordingly and start living our lives the way we want. So the next life lesson is a little bit, it's a challenging one. You have to come to terms with the fact that your friends in high school and who you grew up with even may not be there for the rest of your life. There's so many people that I was so close with in high school that I really lost touch with. It wasn't anyone's fault in particular, but like life got in the way. We all like pursued different things. We met new people. We moved to new cities. After graduating high school, it's such a big time for self-growth, and it's important to allow ourselves the space to do that self-growth, as well as allowing the people close with us in our lives to do that exact same thing. It's not healthy for us to keep fitting our friends that we grew up with in that tiny box, expecting them to stay the same. If anything, that could ruin friendships totally. You know, you wouldn't want that for yourself. But I've learned to set free the relationships as you focus on yourself and your self-growth in that like pivotal time in your life, and know that as you grow, people will start coming back into your life and you will be different people. It's a sad thing to let go of those connections, absolutely, but it's even sadder for friendships to die because you had expectations for someone that they couldn't fulfill and you resented them for that. You are not expected to be the same person that you were even yesterday. You are allowed to grow, and if you recognize someone not allowing you to grow that's in your life that you respect, maybe they're not the person that you thought they were, maybe your relationship just needs some space. This is one of my favorite things, is to let the unknown fuel you, let the unknown motivate you instead of letting it petrify you, instead of letting it paralyze you. Truly, from my life experience, the best things have happened to me when I did not have a backup plan. That has also gone the opposite way and has also really sucked, and I created a bad situation for myself. But it could also be like the best thing ever is to just jump and take risks in your life without a backup plan. I don't remember who said this, but it was great advice. If you have a plan to fall back on, then you will fall back on it, because in the back of your mind you're like, I got my parents to like dig me out of financial crisis even as an adult, so I can take this risk. It'll be okay either way. A lot of times having to rely on your parents to like save you every time, you're not gonna have that fire in you to actually make it work for yourself, because there's no stakes involved, and those mistakes are what is going to help you grow and what is going to help you get life experience. Oh, it feels so good to connect those dots. The next thing is to not regret the dumb shit that you do and to learn from it instead. There are times that I've hurt people in my life that, you know, I didn't want to hurt. I didn't intentionally hurt, but I did. It was eye-opening, mostly through my journaling process and like looking back and reading on it, that I was the toxic one. I was putting the blame on the world and other people and them and their actions, but I was the toxic one. I learned that it's so important to point the finger at myself first instead of pointing at someone else. Like, check myself first. A lot of my problems happen because of me and the toxicity and my decisions. Never take yourself out of the equation for if a situation's not going right. What are your actions? What did you contribute to this bad situation? Just a thought. And there are many more life lessons, but I'm just gonna cap it off with this last one, which is being bold with telling people how you feel. There's kind of two sides of the coin for this one. There are a couple people out there who never knew how I felt about them because I didn't have the guts. I'm very happy with how my life is right now. I'm gonna preface that. Like, I don't regret how any of that happened. Again, it was all just a learning experience. I'm very happy now, do not worry. But a couple people out there don't know how I felt simply because I didn't have it in me to tell them, because I was afraid of rejection. But the more comfortable you get with yourself and the more you find that you have your own back, the less you're afraid of that rejection. Be upfront and honest about who you are and what you want. Be direct as possible. And if someone can walk away from that, if someone can walk away from you being who you are and knowing what you want, which in my opinion is so attractive, then they were not worth your time. There was nothing you could have done differently to persuade them otherwise, because they already knew how they felt about you and nothing you say could change that. So sometimes it's just not meant to be. If you're like trying to convince someone to be with you, you're on a road for disappointment anyways. If they want to be with you, they'll be with you, period. But on the other side of the coin, it's important to tell people how you feel if you are not feeling it. If someone has more feelings for you than you do for them, you're not doing yourself or anyone else any favors by staying with that person, don't drag it on any longer than it has to. Cut it off and be as polite as you can about it. But I'm just saying, like, don't play with people's feelings and be that bigger person sometimes and know when to step away from a situation, because you could be that toxic person and you could be that person taking advantage of them. So I know this was a lot of information to sink in. Congratulations to all the 2020 grads out there. If you found any of these helpful or got insight from any of them, I'd really like to have a conversation about it in the comments below. Yeah, leave a comment, give me a big thumbs up. I hope you consider subscribing to my channel. And if you do subscribe, make sure to ring that little bell. Dang dang, so you can be notified every time that I post a video, which is Tuesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. Eastern time, not Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daily Time. You get it, it's noon in New York. On Tuesdays and Fridays I'll have a video up for you. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.